Crush the Monster. I actually auditioned to be the monster. But it turns out they don't have the liability insurance to handle that kind of act.
Hey, this is Nino in the studio with Alex, my engineer, co-executive producer, and all-around good guy. Alex, go ahead and say hi.
Hey, it's a
I'm
shame. It
also
would have been a good act.
I also am in the studio with Aden Archuleta, who is an interesting public figure. Aden, go ahead and say hi.
It's a pleasure.
All right, perfect. So, as we all know here, the goal of the Boise Hive podcast is to amplify the mission of the Boise Hive, which is to prevent suicide within the local music community. And like always, there's a number of different programs that we have throughout the week. So we'll go through our schedule. On Tuesdays, we have Life Recovery, 12 to 1:30. We also have our Live at the Hive, which is a radio rebroadcast of our Saturday Live at the Hive, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But you can find that radio broadcast on the radio 3 to 4 on Tropico FM. You can find them on Instagram.com/Tropico FM. On the last Tuesday of every month, we have our musicians meeting, which is a nice mixer to kind of network, meet people, like-minded people within our music community. Great event. On Wednesday, we have Sober Curious 6 to 7:30. And the last Wednesday of every month, from 7 to 9:30, we have our open mic. We challenge a bunch of different types of acts to come on out and show us what they got. We'll get you up on stage. Very fun event. Thursday, we have hip hop 6 to 10. And on Friday, we have our vets jam it out from 6 to 9, which is kind of like an acoustic jam, which is, again, is an awesome event. So if you have a chance to get involved with one of these things, it's super fun. And also on Saturdays, we have our Live at the Hive, which is kind of like one of our flagship events here. And you're able to come here and see a band in a very intimate setting. And there's great sound here. There's great lighting. And we also, if you can't make it here, we broadcast it on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook Live. And those, so that you can even watch them online. And if you're a band listening, it's a great way to have your band showcased. You get a live video, has awesome sound that kind of runs through our board. Then we kind of broadcast that online. So like the quality of the video and the audio is top notch. Just really not anything doing it the way that we're doing it here. So I recommend, if you're a band, sign up. If not, come out here and just be a part of this event. It is a super fun night, which brings us into our first bit of local music. Today we are going to highlight one of our Hive family members. This is a track from 5QRL, also known as Squirrel. Just wanted to highlight how it's spelled. And this song is called Stagnant. Check it out. All right, once again, that was Stagnant by Squirrel, and that's actually spelled 5QRL. You can check them out on soundcloud.com/Scrat was here, and that's SKRATWASR. Sorry, that is SKRATWASHERE. Scrat was here. I was able to catch his Tree Fort show. Amazing live performance, local act, definitely worth going out and checking out. And again, that is 5 QRL, and he's actually pronounced squirrel though. So here we are. We have Aden Archuleta in the studio today. Aden, say hi again.
What is up?
Yeah, he's here. So he is an interesting gentleman that we've run into recently who does a lot of things locally here. He is involved in a host role at KKGL, and he also is a volunteer here at the Hive. And maybe we'll start there. Aiden, what do you specifically do you do here at the Hive?
That's actually the question I ask myself every time I'm in this building. I kind of just I call myself a floater. Help out with the live shows.
We wear a lot of hats here.
We do indeed. I volunteered at the front desk. We just recently had our fair share of fun at Tree Fort interviewing local bands. Trying to put together a video for the Boise Hive, an extension of the podcast. I wouldn't say it's podcast related, but it's its own thing.
It's Hive related.
Yeah, it's Hive.
I mean,
yeah.
we kept it within the mental health family. So, and we're involved in a lot of projects. And I think that what we kind of created, we might be able to use in a number of different projects. But that was definitely fun. So, how long have you been associated with the Hive?
I found out about it, I think June, like fresh after I graduated high school. Was looking for a music related area, and the Hive is quite literally
Did you
a
find
hive.
it? Did someone tell you about it?
Yeah, so I had a friend tell me he like way back in the day. I think he either recorded or did a show here or something, and told me it was the spot. So checked it out. Saw Tara. Yeah, and from there, rest is history.
Yeah, well, we're definitely glad to have you, and you're definitely a breath of fresh air here. You know, just a little shot of youth, which we're going to talk about a little bit within the youth mental health realm. One of the things that we've talked about on the show before is that kids that are bullied are 9 times more likely to commit suicide. And that's not, and it's regularly bullied, and that could be whether it's just normal bullying or even cyberbullying, which can be huge, especially in this new kind of social media culture that we're in. But could you speak a little bit about that and the correlation of mental health and being youth or being a part of the youth community in Boise?
Yeah, like specifically to the social media aspect. I'm young, and like many of my peers, I'm constantly on my phone, and there's a lot of just like the projection of perfection, I guess, and where like the person I view myself as like the ideal person to me, is constantly like projected in my face.
Sure.
So it like just
and my daughter's 12 and she just started Instagram and we monitor it.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, not all of it is love.
No.
Not all of it is just like, let's bring everyone up and be cool and and sing kumbaya. Like some of that stuff is very malicious, or there's hate involved in some of these posts, and we see that at 12 already. But I'm sure you know too that sometimes the projection or the things that people use their platform for are just not very nice at all. It surprises me every day. And you would probably know more about that than I do. But even with our social media with my band, like some stuff is just not very nice.
Yeah, it's a breeding ground for comparison and for just trying to elevate yourself and put others down. Which, and not to say that's all of social media by any means.
Oh, yeah.
But it's definitely an aspect.
But it plays a big part in youth mental health nowadays because social media is the primary way that kids communicate. What do you think about this, Alex?
I mean, yeah, no, it's all true. There's a reason social media is like sometimes feels addictive. It's designed that way, and
Yeah.
the validation that comes from it is that's banking on another thing that humans are going to be addicted to getting. And sometimes people get this thing in their head where they feel like bringing somebody else down is a form of validation, or that it like clears the way for themselves to like get more validation or more clout. That's the big one, is
Sure.
the clout, the social clout that comes from social media. Like we all have those friends that like they you'll see a post from them and it's like them with like 14 other people in a big group of people, and it's like, all right, you guys are just hanging out, but it's like a really common thing. You just see people like, I was with these people, look at me,
Sure. And it's just mind blowing on some of the stuff. And when I was doing this research, I also read that a lot of the times it's looked at as being like ubiquitous. Like these kids can't escape it. Like they'll put these malicious posts about like somebody in school, and it'll go on their Facebook, it'll go on their TikTok. Like there's literally a place where they can just post it one time and it goes to everything. So back in the day, it might have been an isolated situation that you dealt with a bully, and only the people that are around kind of saw. It might felt like the whole school was watching, but like literally when these things are like being facilitated online, like everybody sees these. Everybody puts them on their story, or if anything, everybody talks about them, and it's very hard for a kid to escape these types of things in today's world. You know, and Aiden, as far as the youth goes, what kind of you were talking about? He's a busy guy, and I will say I'm not trying to call him out here, but Aden Archuleta is probably the busiest 18-year-old guy you could meet. He does a lot of different projects. He stays super busy, and one of the things that kind of we were talking about before we were kind of devising what the show was going to be about is having that balance, even at 18, to not be too heavy on the work and being able to balance like your work life and social life. So, Aiden, can you give us a little bit of insight on what you can do, like as a youth, to balance that, or what type of things you do to balance that work and personal life?
Yeah, for me, it's a little different too because I work in very odd industries and I do a lot of creative stuff, and so often you don't get to choose when the like creativity starts flowing. And then like as for my host role on the radio, it's often at night, so not really a set schedule or that one that's akin to most people with a standard 9 to 5. But yeah, just trying to find like some level of schedule in however busy you are. Make time for like every Sunday. I actually after this, I'm gonna go watch a movie with my mom. I just try to spend some time with her. But yeah, hang out with friends. It's even when you're tired and like you're working. Or like do exploring passion projects or whatever. Just try and find it's worth it to be tired and be around the people you love than to be rested and alone, if that makes sense, because
Sure.
you don't really have the time otherwise. And so like I often find myself making excuses like, oh, I just need to like sleep or which and
Sure.
they're definitely like that's another part is you try to get 8 hours, you'll feel a whole lot better. But it is worth it to make the time for the people you love.
And that brings up a good point because we've talked about this show a lot. Is that first of all, surrounding yourself with people you love is huge, even when you're young. And I would wager that when kids are out there around 15, 16, 17, 18 years old, maybe their parents aren't like the coolest people to hang out with anymore. Or maybe you're becoming a man or an adult and you're doing your own thing, and it's very easy to not make time for your family or to forget about how special that is at that stage of life. So it actually brings up something good, is that even when you're 18 years old and you're finding yourself and you have this new freedom of being adult, to don't forget about your family. Don't make time for them. Spend time with your parents. Work them into your daily schedule, because it really it goes along with that, surrounding yourself with people that you love and your loved ones. Also, having a good schedule. It's probably easy when you are 18 years old to not get 8 hours of sleep.
Hmm.
It's probably when you have this new sense of freedom and, oh, I can kind of do what I want now on a different level. Or maybe like we talk about drinking water, eating healthy,
Yeah.
making time to get 8 hours or whatever you need, within your schedule. But even adult, I mean, I'm sure this is universal. Even adults can benefit from this too, but I could also see it being an issue within the youth community, just because it's not something that I didn't think about it when I was 18 years old. I thought about partying
Yeah.
and doing whatever I wanted to do and staying up as late as I could and just being my own person and not having any rules. And sometimes that doesn't mean that like I was eating healthy, drinking a lot of water, and like doing a lot of sleeping. That's usually, you're not doing any of that stuff at that age of life, or at least I wasn't. But you're probably a little bit more of ahead of the game
Yeah,
than I am.
I find a correlation with Like if you feel bad, then there's some immediate things you can do
Absolutely.
to improve your mental health, your mental health, your physical health, and it all is intertwined. So
Yeah, and obviously, if there's any kids out there, if you know any kids out there that are struggling, the best thing to do is to get professional help.
definitely.
And whatever level that is, whether it's calling the national hotline at 988 or whether it is reaching out to a professional or a doctor or whatever that may be, depending on the level that you're experiencing, it's worth taking a look at. So that's always the primary thing. But I mean, obviously, there's lots of things that you can control yourself to assist in your mental health at any stage of your life. Like Aden was saying, it's all connected. So again, this has been a wonderful discussion with Aden Archuleta. I guarantee you this is not the last time you are going to hear this name around town. And if you do see him, give him a chat. He's a really cool dude. This is Nino. I'm in the studio. Oh, sorry. We're going to go back to, I almost jumped in this last episode and I'm just running away with it, guys. Let's not forget about the Boise Hive. Let's talk about the Hive. So how do you get a contact with the Hive? There's a number of different ways. One of them is boisehive.org. You could also search us on YouTube. We have a cool channel with all of our Live at the Hive replays. You can literally go through and catch some of the live shows that you were able to miss here. Really good production. You can contact us by phone, 208-344-4994. We also have a Spotify channel where you can search Boise Hive Sessions, and it's a collaboration of a bunch of local music that's recorded right here at the Hive. And just like we were mentioning before,
it's really just a playlist of those artists.
A great one nonetheless.
yeah, really good stuff in there. And like we were mentioning before, if you know anyone that is experiencing suicidal thoughts, or if you feel like you're in a crisis, like to find out more about that topic, you can always call the national hotline at 988. You can also text it too for information. So now I'm going to do this the right way. My name is Nino. I'm here with Alex and Aden with the Boise Hive podcast. This has been a pleasure. This is the last one of season 1, so definitely a special episode. You'll have to catch us around next year. But let's go!
All right, and taking us out today, we got the only major band from Boise that we haven't
Legendary.
hit yet. It's Built to Spill, and you know where to find them. Everybody knows where to find them. This song is called Going Against Your Mind.